In this video, we're going to talk about the variations in side steps, the portable version and all of its uses for transfers, and the permanently mounted version that will be used on trailheads. Let's talk about the portable side step. The intent of this design is to assist with transfers from a wheelchair to a lower surface. The original intent was to be able to transfer on hand cycles, which tend to be very low to the ground. In developing it, we found it also works very well for any low transfer. Sled hockey buckets, yoga on a yoga mat, anything that requires getting from a chair to the ground and back up again. It's turned out to be incredibly useful for all of those things. This was also intended to be portable, so it can be put into a cycling trailer for a program, it could be put into the back of your car, it could fit under your bed or behind a door. So it's intended to be collapsible, lightweight, and portable. To set it up, we have a strap that can be released that is just there to control the handles during transport. In the back, there's a single pin. When it's released, there's a second hole for it. And it's placed on the ground. So now this surface is roughly at wheelchair height. The bottom surface is roughly 6 to 8 inches off of the floor. For anyone who's using this, the initial transfer from the chair is a flat and level transfer. The side handles can be lifted, and as they rotate forward, they lock down by pushing down. So unlock and lock. I'll show that from the other side also. We lift, lock, so now it's locked in place, unlock, and down it goes. From this top surface, the handle behind me allows me to have both hands above the level of my backside, which allows me to elevate, and it makes it possible to move from one level to the next. Notice my feet haven't left the ground, so if you've transferred from the wheelchair, you don't need to move your feet into the steps. They can remain on the ground. We can then move legs and move to the next level. Move legs, go to the next level. Same thing on the way back up. Notice the front edge of the step is beveled. This helps with getting the backside up to that surface. If you struggle to lift that high, it gives you a guide that you can get up to the next level. You can also add cushions to this. I would recommend that. If someone doesn't have any sensation, you should ask them first, is this surface acceptable for you? If not, add cushioning. So the next feature to be aware of, as I transfer back up to the top, is if someone in a chair is pulling up to this device, they want it to feel stable. So in its original state, as someone reaches across, this is not terribly stable. It has a tendency to tip. So the added feature is here on the bottom leg, where we can push a pin and extend the foot. So this extension gives the top of this more stability, but we don't want this to be in the way of the wheelchair. So the side that they're approaching from should be in, and the side that is away from the chair should be extended. With that extended, this has much more stability. If you're using it in programming, it's still not a bad idea to put a foot on this back rail and make it absolutely rock solid. If someone reaches out and grabs this, they get a wobble, it's going to take away their confidence in the device. So always stabilize it if you can. For collapsing, back to the same. Close the legs. Pull the pin. Lower the legs. Reinsert the pin. Add the strap. And we're ready to roll. Let's talk about the side step station. This is meant to be a permanently mounted unit on bike trails and trails of all types to enhance the accessibility of that trail, both for hand cycles and wheelchair users, but also for the general public in the way they approach their trikes, their bikes. It has multiple uses for multiple people. The intent here is to open up the trails, bring more people in, and make them accessible to all. The design of this side step began with a single unit. So each of these steps is an individual piece that can be bolted together in different combinations. So we can make a 4-step version, we can make a 3-step version, we could make 8 steps that turn and go down 4 more steps. So it's a basic building block that allows us to create a station that fits the application to a T. This one is the most basic and fits into most applications. It's meant to be used by sitting on the top step. If you're a wheelchair user, you would transfer onto here. It's at about chair height. Each of these side arms is able to raise and lower, and I'm assuming at this point that if you're using this to transfer into a hand cycle, you may or may not have hand function. So to raise these handles, we just push with the hand forward. To lower it, we pull backward, and that raises and lowers on either side. For someone to transfer in from a chair, this handle is available to make the motion from this seat to the next. Each of these is 4 inches. And now I'm able to move up and down the steps because I have those handholds at a level above my waist where I can get my backside up high enough to get to that next level and move legs. Also from here, we have access to our leaning post and a pull-up bar, and we'll show you that next with how it's used with the cycles themselves. Another use of the station is for trikes. The trails are full of gray hairs like myself who are out on the trail enjoying riding once again because the e-bike movement has brought things back into use for us. The trike is a wonderful vehicle, lets me ride comfortably, go out for long distances and come back. The downside of it is, if it's one like this, it's low to the ground, so it's very low resistance. It's great to ride. It's not so much fun to get in and out of, especially if your knees don't work great. So what the station is doing is giving me a place to grab hold of to be able to maneuver into this bike. And then as I sit, I can sit under control. Now I'm in position to go for a ride, go out and have a great time. Come back, same issue. As I pulled up, I get to the back of the station. Without the station there, I have not much way to get up out of this. It's difficult. With the station, it gives me a handhold, and I can under control pull myself up out of the trike and have a very stable, comfortable way to step over and get out of it without the risk of tripping. This is also a great place to lean up against if you're on a two-wheeler and you're not quite as stable as you used to be to throw that leg over the two-wheeler. This makes a great leaning post to make yourself stable while you throw the leg on the bike and take off down the trail. This is the setup for the hand cycle, and there are multiple ways to approach it, but what we've found in users' preference is that the hand cycle be perpendicular to the end of the side step the way it's shown here. You'll see why in just a minute. The idea is for the wheelchair user to pull up and have a level transfer out of their chair. They can elevate the side that they need back here. Notice the back of the seat of the hand cycle is on this same side. So as the user is moving down the steps, because I have very long legs, as we're transferring into the hand cycle, all of this structure is really in the way. We can get it up and somewhat out of the way, but not completely. To avoid contact with that, this is where I would start moving my leg to move through the hand cycle to the opposite side of the seat, so that as I move, I'm coming across into the hand cycle, not down and in. That's not terrible coming in because of gravity, but again, gravity is your friend on the way in, not on the way out. From here, I've got a level slide to come into the seat and get positioned and be ready to go out and take a ride. When I come back in and pull in tight to the side step, now I have a space to move where I can make that lateral movement out of the hand cycle. And here I'm using the back of the hand cycle and the thumb groove on this lowest step to move up and out. And all this is dependent on how you make transfers. Everybody has their own way to do it. This is a good place to bring a foot up and get it hooked on the far side of the seat before I make that next move up the next step. Now I can move my feet back to a more comfortable position on the ground and make the move back up the steps. What we've had users do who have shorter legs, who aren't like me, is they can actually leave their feet in this shorter position and pull up the second handle and come up the seat that way, up to the next step, move feet, and then rotate around onto the foot plate of the wheelchair. Like in all cases, this is a hard surface, so be aware of that. Use a separate cushion. It works with 2 cushions. You can move one cushion to where you're going while you're sitting on a second. That's up to the user to determine and to bring. This is meant to be mounted on the side of the trail near the parking spot at every trailhead. And what that will do is allow the user to leave their chair at their vehicle and go off riding. When you have all of that in one location and this has access to the trail, it's the best of all worlds for hand cyclists.